President has appointed a team of ministers to get to the bottom of PPE tender allegations. Now, he wants a list of all companies and the tender amounts involved this week, and he wants total transparency. Justice Minister Ronald Lamola will chair the committee, and I'm joined now by political editor Vuyo Mvoko for ENCA. Thank you so much, Vuyo. You sat and listened to everything that was said. What exactly is this team of ministers tasked with, bearing in mind there are a number of probes into the allegations around fraud and corruption that the SIU is involved with already?
And that's exactly the question I asked Sally, and I asked him again after their briefing as to what exactly was the thinking behind setting up yet another inter-ministerial team or committee. Now, from what the minister just told me, a lot of departments don't know or don't get to move when they are being asked to provide information, for example. So the ministers, with all the executive authority that they have, will be able to send messages or directives to all departments across the board and hopefully get immediate responses or answers or cooperation. So it is not to replace the work of the 9 state law enforcement agencies that are currently handling all these PPE contracts and doing investigations and moving some of them towards prosecution. So that's what he just told me in an attempt to really try and clarify what it is exactly that this ministerial team will be doing, Sally.
Talk to me about the transparency, such a critical issue. When I interviewed Peter Louis Myburg from Scorpio, the journalist with Daily Maverick, and he was talking about trying to get more information on the tenders in the Free State. There was a basic list, but not a lot of detail. Does this mean, this new call for transparency, mean that we will be able to look at the detail of every single tender?
That is what Minister Ronald Lamola is hoping for, because he says that some people do exactly what you're saying. They don't cooperate, they drag their feet. So they are hoping that the ministers will be able to send directives and get immediate response. He's also saying that, because he says they do understand that if all that they will be doing is sit there and wait for things to come to them, or all that this effort will be able to achieve is for these departments to be able to put the information out there without anybody interrogating that information, then one of the things they may inadvertently do would be to basically endorse the processes that may have been wrongfully and corruptly arrived at, or contracts that may have been corruptly awarded. So he says they are very conscious of that fact, but they do believe that there was a necessity to put together this team of ministers who will be able then to also move with speed towards the execution of certain decisions. He mentioned, for example, the Minister of Finance, saying that where, for example, there may be a resource issue which may hamper the investigations that the 9 state law enforcement agencies may be doing, the Minister of Finance is then able to chip in pretty quickly and actually provide those resources if that is what is confronting the work or blocking the work of the agencies at that particular point.
Is there a risk that this ministerial committee could create huge bottlenecks in getting tenders approved? I mean, hundreds and hundreds of tenders just on COVID-19 have been granted recently. Is there a chance they can hold up the process?
It is not, theirs is not to approve tenders, but to scrutinize tenders that will be, to look at tenders that have already been awarded and those that are that may still be awarded later on. So it's not a body really that looks at the tenders to say yay or nay, but he says they want to help the state law enforcement agencies do their work and do so with speed. In other words, unlock whatever blockages there may be in the system as these agencies seek the cooperation, but also where there are issues of resources, for example. So theirs is not really to get involved and deal with the actual tenders, take decisions, or decide who should or shouldn't be awarded a tender. He says, no, that is not what they're about. It's an attempt to make sure that where these state law enforcement agencies are experiencing problems, they can then chip in and do whatever is within their power. And one of the things he cited as an example, Ronald Lamola says, if, for example, Department A or a province or some state law enforcement agencies is refusing to cooperate, and they can quickly move in and get a directive going to ensure that those people or people who are reluctant or not keen to cooperate, in fact, do so.
Well, thank you very much. That is our political editor, Vuyo Mvoko.